We are going to kick things off because we've got a lot prepared for this virtual job fair. It is so great to see some familiar faces and some new faces. We've got a fantastic panel. But I'm Sonja Thoms, and I am the creator of AMFS. I have my mighty team who are both here today, Brianna Owens and Sarah Davidson. And by day and now night and weekend, I'm the Vice President of Operations at the Nashville Symphony, but delighted to be here on this afternoon with all of you. So we are going to kick this off because we've got 4 great organizations that we're going to have you hear from. There's going to be plenty of time for Q&A, but feel free to use the chat to share any questions you have as they come to mind, and we'll be sure to get to them. And yeah, I think we're just going to kick things off. But I felt that a virtual job fair for summer jobs was so important because I encounter so many amazing students who are looking to gain that experience that they need to build their resume to really push them further towards that career with an orchestra. And so I find myself reminding folks that summer festivals and summer work is really an amazing opportunity to build your career. And it always seems to be like a light bulb that goes off. It's like the forgotten asset in the summer that you can use. You know, everyone knows about internships and maybe volunteer work, but this is a gem. It's a diamond in the rough, and I just wanted to shout it from the rooftops. So that's what we're doing today. When I was a young oboist in college, I went to National Repertory Orchestra NRO for a summer as an oboist, which was so amazing, and I grew tremendously as a musician. The next summer I came back and I was the personnel manager intern. And whether or not I realized that then, that was definitely the beginnings of my orchestra management career. And so it's really shaped the way those summers really shaped those different skills, and also helped me form relationships with my peers in a lot of different ways. And so I've invited a very special friend, Deontay McNeil, who I just wanted him to share he's most recently come off a summer festival job. And so Deontay, why don't you introduce yourself and just share what it meant to you to be able to work at Eastern Music Festival this last summer?
Excellent. Thank you very much, Sonja. So yeah, I worked this past summer at Eastern Music Festival, as just stated, and I was in the development department. And so for me, it was especially coming off of or still going through COVID at that time, being able to be a part of an organization that that kept everyone safe, and that still allowed for music making to happen, and for me to learn a lot through the organization.
Excellent. So how did that kind of support your next step, and what did you specifically feel like you took away from the skills that you learned in that summer job?
Oh yes. So I was able to talk to different arts leaders from all around the Greensboro community, and so understanding what the folk festival was going through during COVID, and to understand the different ways that we can reach out to the community and help others. That's what I took from it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Deontay. And so if you have any questions for him as we're kind of kicking off with our panelists, please, he's definitely someone to know, and on his way to a great career. Okay, so we're going to go in, we're going to start with Aspen Music Festival. And so we've got Bonnie and John. So Bonnie, why don't we kick off with you? Why don't you introduce yourself and what your role is at Aspen Music Festival?
Sure. My name is Bonnie Shappell. I am the Director of Ticket Services at Aspen Music Festival and School. I've been here for about 4 years now, and actually was a student of the festival in 2006. So it's great to kind of be on the other side of it as well. I've worked a bunch of summer jobs also before landing this full-time job here. I worked at the Grand Teton Music Festival for 4 summers, working in house management and box office. and did a professional touring career after college for about 5 years playing French horn. So kind of mixing and matching the admin with the professional musician part, and kind of my mentality just kind of through my life, and I'll talk about the music school in a bit, is kind of that kind of the stand-up improv mentality of yes and. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but the concept is, you know, someone says something and then you say yes and you add on top of it. So you know, as a freshman in college, I had a work study job in the box office at my university, and back in that day, I never thought I'd be running a box office in Aspen in the year 2021. So it's one of those things where you don't know where things go, and kind of take advantage of the opportunities that come about. So the Aspen Music Festival, I'm sure you're aware, is a fantastic school in the summertime. We've got 8 weeks of instruction, hundreds of concerts every day a week, and we have about 110 summer staff that we bring on every summer. So it is quite a large production in the summertime. Our summer jobs range from artistic to student services, development, marketing, box office, you know, and really run the gamut of everything that you can do to make it happen.
Thanks. Jon, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm the director of operations with Aspen Music Festival. And I'm going to touch on how I got here a little bit, because it's a little interesting. It has to do with how much a summer festival can really change your trajectory. I actually came here my first year in 2017 as a stage manager, and it was just a summer job in between tours because I was a touring stage manager before him. And after my first year, really liked it, kept coming back, moved from stage manager to production manager, and then finally director of operations during COVID. And having that just as a person who had actually never been part of classical music and being put into that head first, where we're doing 350 events in 8 weeks, and kind of finding that through that summer festival as a, you know, a way to discover that passion. It was really cool. I'd been in many summer festival programs in the theatrical world already, but starting back in my freshman, or right after my freshman year of college. But, you know, that was just kind of an unexpected one. It can really show you a whole new path that you didn't think about before. So I manage operations as a whole manages 71 of our summer staff. And that's everything from orchestra management, stage management, crew, piano techs, you know, all that. And we manage all the rentals for every project we do. And we bring in about 140 pianos every year from Steinway. I mean, the numbers to make such a big festival with 2 campuses is huge. So it takes a huge team and a lot of cross-pollination on each department too.
Excellent. So can you dive a little bit deeper into kind of the type of candidates you are looking for to fill these jobs?
Yeah, like I said, 350 events in 8 weeks. We're doing stuff every day. There's no day off. That being said, we make sure that everyone gets days off, but the festival is still running. So, I mean, someone who's a go-getter in terms of they're looking to get as many experiences as possible in the summer, interact with as many different artists that we bring in and different employees, summer staff, full-time, whatever they are. It's a huge way to network and look. If you're looking for that, a summer festival is perfect. I mean, you know, those people are here for the summer, but they're from all over the world, and they go back to every other organization. And I mean, I would say over 50% of people that come here without a job following the summer have a job before the end of the summer because they know someone that's going to another organization and needs another position. So kind of looking for those future opportunities after is huge. And, you know, having hungry for knowledge, because there's a bunch of it and it's such a diverse amount of experience you can get, and kind of just asking for that knowledge and opportunity to find that.
So Bonnie, with the director of ticket services, like what would be some of the qualities of a candidate that you're looking for in your department?
Sure. So my department is very customer facing. One of those things where when we do interviews, you know, talking to someone on the phone, what's your phone presence like? do you have a good speaking voice? Do you have any customer service experience in the past? Have you worked at a Starbucks? That kind of thing. If you have classical music knowledge, that's fantastic. It's not required for my position. Just being able to have a good presence when you're talking with patrons or donors or someone who gives us $50,000 a year who wants to get tickets, that kind of thing. So for my positions, a lot of customer service is really part of the whole thing, and having that presence with people. Other positions here in the summer, might not be interacting with the public as much as a box office would, but as everyone here has attended a music event at some point, they've been working with, they buy the ticket from the box office, they get their ticket torn by the usher, the front of house, those are all the kind of people that you're going to run into at any kind of performance. And you're not necessarily talking to the artist or talking to the stage management. So for these more front of house and box office positions, for me, a customer service background and mindset is important.
So what's the age range of the people you hire for the summer? Is it college? Is it undergrad and graduate? Does it have to be postgraduate? Talk a little bit about who are the best age range candidates?
Everything. I've had high school seniors work here in the box office. I've had my oldest box office employee, I think, just turned 73. So it really is a range, and it really is great to have that variety as well. So I can't say that there's a particular age range that fits for my positions necessarily. Just having those skills and the interest. Yeah.
I would say, yeah, basically the same thing. I mean, if the right applicant's the right applicant, it doesn't matter what their age is.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I would say in general, we hire between 20 years old and 34 years old. And I mean, we're really looking for the people that are hungry for work and aren't going to get burnt out on hour 39 of the week. But still have a good energy about it. And I mean, know what they're coming into. And that is typically in that younger range, but not always. So, yeah.
So obviously, if you work at Aspen Festival, you're going to be living in Aspen. Do you know anything that you can share about, is housing provided? What other kind of accommodations are provided, because it's a seasonal job in Colorado?
It depends on the hire, of course, but majority of our positions have housing provided. I'll tell you, in the summer in Aspen, housing here is $10,000 a month. So we have to provide that. No one can really afford that. So yeah, housing is provided. The only time it's not is if we're doing a local hire, and it's usually posted as a local hire, so you would know. And especially Colorado, we post all of our wages and benefits and everything on all of our job posts now. And those are actually live too. I can share that link later. Yeah, and there's, a lot of these places, especially in Colorado, it's a smaller town. So, I mean, we have 2 grocery stores in the town. So, upon arrival, all the employees get a pamphlet of, what stores to go to. And we have a lot of relationships with places in the city to get student discounts and staff discounts. And we kind of try to make it as easy as possible in that sense, and provide transportation as well. We pay for extra bus routes and extra bikes that are available for students to travel around town and staff. And yeah, try to make it as easy as possible, because, we want the best work possible as well.
So if someone's interested in a job and they see it on your website, we'll drop the link. They could just apply through the website, right?
Yep, it's all through the website. It asks for uploads of resumes and all that stuff. Upload a PDF. I hate when people put Word documents. It says it so many times. It's pretty easy. It does take a little bit. It's that whole, you have to put in all these questions and all that to kind of go through the first process, but it's not too hard.
Is there anything else you want to share about Aspen before we move on to our next organization?
Bonnie?
If you come here and work here, it may snow. So
in July, yes.
July.
Yeah, no, it's fun, and it really creates a community. And there's countless amount of people out of our, I guess, normally 36 full-time staff that have just come as a summer staff and fell in love and can't leave the place. myself included.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go from the Rocky Mountains to the West Coast, and we've got our friends from Music Academy of the West, Indigo Fischer and Jonathan Lee Chan. So Indigo, why don't you introduce yourself and what your role is at Music Academy?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name's Indigo. I'm the Artistic Operations Coordinator at the Music Academy of the West. I'm originally a flutist, so I started off performing in festivals like EMF, go Dante. And then actually in 2019, I was the Artist Liaison Fellow at the NRO, where I know Dave DePeters. So that's really where I kind of got started on the administrative side of things, and it just shows you how small our musical world is. So had a great life-changing summer at the NRO, and this past summer I was working on the summer staff at the Music Academy as artist liaison and artistic programs coordinator, so in the operations side of things. And now I've transitioned to the full-time staff, and I'll tell you, Santa Barbara, California is a great place to be, an amazing place to spend the summer, as much time as you can spend on the beach as possible. You know, with the long hours, it's really great to have somewhere to go and just relax in that way. And it's a great place throughout the non-summer months as well.
And Jonathan, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Jonathan Chan. I'm the production manager here at the Music Academy of the West. I came to the Music Academy actually through the Nashville Symphony. I worked with Sonja for a couple of years as part of the production team there. And to continue my experience working in the classical fields, I looked for summer positions. I've worked at Round Top, I've worked at NRO, and I've worked here at Music Academy. Mainly as an audio technical type of position, recording engineer. And when the position opened to be the production manager here at the Music Academy, I jumped at the opportunity. I just wanted to express to all of you, all of your experiences add up, and that will give you some opportunities that you may not see in the future. But I want to congratulate all of you guys for taking the steps to be here today, and so we can talk to you guys and share our experiences.
Thank you. So can you tell us a little bit about how long is the summer festival? What kind of performances are there? Just tell us what to expect and what it's like to be there for the summer.
Well, Music Academy is an 8-week festival, so early June through August. We have full orchestral component, vocalists, solo piano. So we kind of do everything, orchestral and chamber performances. There's a lot of side-by-sides with all of our faculty artists as well for these chamber performances. So we kind of run the gamut of everything in 8 weeks. We're running all over the place, producing a lot of concerts of varying programs. And we do have that faculty component as well. So we have 50 faculty artists, we have guest artists, guest conductors. So it's quite the busy place over the summer.
In addition to the musical forward-facing elements of the Music Academy, we also sponsor a number of innovation residential type of where we bring in leaders in the classical music field for either conferences or one-on-ones. There are also a number of competitions that we sponsor with some cash prizes and opportunities to perform and work with other professionals in the space.
So what are some of the summer jobs then that are going to be available that they'll see on the website?
Well, Jonathan and I both work in the artistic operations department, so that's kind of where we are, but there's also the student services side of things, there's the ticket office, marketing. Within the artistic operations team, we have artist liaisons, artistic program coordinators, which is a kind of like an operations assistant type of position. We have personnel manager, music librarian, assistant librarian. Those are some that I'll help to oversee. And then Jonathan, you can talk about kind of the production positions that we have.
So we have a robust crew here. We're going to be looking to hire assistant stage managers as well as some technology assistants. As we all have learned through the COVID era, Zoom and technology is here to stay. So we are investing in some of our young professionals as well and some of our job hires to get some of that experience to move forward.
Oh, that's exciting. And so are there any streamed performances? I guess now I'm just curious over the summer that.
So that is in the works because of the, I know we're kind of tucked away here on the West Coast, but we want to make a lot of our performances available for people, families, friends all over the country. So that is in the works, yes.
Excellent. So talk a little bit about the candidates you're looking for. What are kind of the qualities that you think would make for a successful seasonal employee?
I'm really looking for people who are curious about kind of the inner workings of festivals and how we even make these festivals happen in the first place. So detail-oriented, curious, for these artist liaison positions, what Bonnie was talking about with the ticket office, it's same in artist liaisons of this very forward-facing kind of customer service element. You're really hosting them at the Music Academy. So we really want candidates for those positions who are representative and excited to really show our guests around and have a great experience here. So detail-oriented, curious, all of those.
Excellent. I would add calm under pressure for Aspen and Music Academy, NRO. I mean, no 2 days are the same. That's why I still love operations after all these years, but it can, you have got to maybe be screaming on the inside, but smiling on the outside. So if that's you, you'll be a great fit for a lot of these positions. Jonathan, is there anything else that you're particularly looking for?
Uh-oh, looks like he's frozen.
Oh no. We can always come back. So how would someone find out more about the positions available for the festival?
Yeah, we'll be posting all the positions by the end of the year or very early 2022 in January. So just be on the lookout with our website. We'll be posting those pretty shortly. They'll have all the instructions for how to apply. It's typically just sending in a resume and cover letter. Excellent.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share about Music Academy?
Come apply. It's a great place to work, great team and place to spend the summer. And, all of us mainly being musicians, it's just such an enriching time to be able to attend all the performances and work backstage for them and just be surrounded by really great artistry. So come and join us.
Excellent. And so I'm going to go back to the Rocky Mountains, but this time couple thousand more feet in elevation to Breckenridge, Colorado, where I learned to play ultimate frisbee. And so Dave DePeters, I just wanted to welcome you back to the screen, and if you might, let's see if he.
Yeah, I'm ready.
There you are. Okay, sorry, I couldn't see you. Yeah, so go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us all about NRO.
Sure. My name's Dave DePeters. I'm the CEO of the National Repertory Orchestra, which means sort of all things stop with me. Hopefully I lead the charge for the organization and into the future. The NRO is an 8-week summer music festival from the end of June through the middle of August. Sorry, can you hear the dog in the background? And so the fellows, actually admin and operation fellows and staff, will come here for 10.5 weeks. So 2 weeks prior to the festival and about a half a week after the festival to help clean it up. We're a very small organization, much smaller than Aspen or Music Academy. We only have 5 full-time year-round people, and we only staff about 20 summer staff people. So unlike some of the bigger organizations where there's maybe some compartmentalization, when you're at the NRO, you will do a lot of everything. You will be stepping into, you might be the marketing fellow, but you will not only be working in the box office and doing surveys and doing social media, but you will also be, helping set up for a community engagement program or anything else. It's sort of all hands on deck kind of a summer. So if you're curious about all aspects of an operation, I think it's an interesting place to go because you really will get a taste of a lot of different things. When the fellows come in, or when the summer staff comes in with everybody for the first 2 weeks, part of what we do is we have a meeting, a one-on-one with myself and that person, and we decide what the course is going to look like for the year. So we talk about what are your hopes and dreams? What are you trying to get out of it? What do you think you're going to be getting out of it? How do you think this is going to work? And how can we best help you find your path for this summer? And then at the end of the year, we have a catch up and we see how we did. And we try to catch up throughout the year as well to sort of gauge how things are going. Because NRO is essentially at its heart an educational organization. We do performances, but we all are all about education. And at the heart of that is experiential education. So we don't have the teaching for the musicians. We don't do a lot of master classes, things like that. People are in the heart of performance. They come in, they are one orchestra, they have to play principal, they have to understand what it's like to run an orchestra and to be in a professional orchestra. And that is the way it is with the operations and with the admin fellows and staff as well. You will come in needing to know a fair amount about what you're there to do, and you work directly with the directors of those departments, because there is no layering at the NRO. There's no director, then manager, then this, then the fellow kind of a thing. It's director, fellow. So you will be involved in staff meetings. You'll be involved in meetings that will determine the course of the organization and how it moves forward. And it will give you a pretty good sense of the behind the scenes of the whys and wheres, not just the whats and hows.
Thank you. Yeah, I can attest to you will wear many hats and see a lot of all the things. Because when I was an intern there, I think I started off in development, then I was personnel manager, which also meant I was selling t-shirts at concerts, and it meant I was helping, the orchestra, which I don't know, Dave, if this summer, but I remember we actually did some runouts too, that we would actually go out of Breckenridge as well and play in some other communities in the outlying areas. So it was the beginnings of my run out career back in those years. So what?
Indigo and Jonathan both know about runouts and the Silverthorne in Denver and
Evergreen. We went to Evergreen. And I also remember that as an oboist, the runouts were really challenging because from 9,600 feet down to like 5,200 feet, and all of a sudden my reeds wouldn't work. So anyways, so can you tell us a little bit more about kind of the ideal candidates that you're looking for? I remember I was in undergrad when I was there both years. So are you looking for kind of similar undergrad, grad age range?
Yeah, our requirement is 18 to 29 years old, not only for the musicians, but for any of the fellows, any of the fellowship spaces, not for the paid staff, but for the fellowships. We need you to have finished 1 year of college, to have completed one year of undergraduate. That's just because we don't have sort of dorm moms and dads and stuff. You're basically going to be set up in an apartment. There is housing. We supply housing. We supply a small food stipend. There are paid and unpaid positions available. But yeah, I really like what Indigo said. I'm most interested in curious people. I like people who are open to learning new things and learning new ways, and not afraid of saying, I think I've got an idea. Like I said, we're a very small organization, so it allows people to step up and actually have a say in what goes on and how it happens. And if somebody's got a better idea, of course, we're going to take that idea and run with it. So that's what we're looking for. And also because there is not a lot of layering at a lot of levels. Whatever you're coming in to do, you should be pretty well versed at least understanding what it is before you arrive, because you will hit the ground running.
Yes, well, and all the postings will be up on your website, and I'm going to share all the links to the websites. Will the postings be up soon, or are they coming around the new year?
We have our aim point is first week of December.
Oh, great. All right, so be watching those websites. Is there anything else you'd like to share about NRO before we move on?
Well, the last thing I'll say is one of the unique things about the NRO, and the thing that I love, and I take no credit for because it happened long before I got here, but we have a host family group as well, and the host families are a pretty unique and remarkable group of people. And so when you come here, you can choose to opt out of it. You don't have to be part of the program, but most everyone joins. And if you didn't join it, oftentimes once you get here, people say, yeah, I definitely want to do that. And you get into it a little bit late, but we place you with a family here in Breckenridge. You don't stay with them. You stay on your own, but they are sort of your hosts for the summer. They take you hiking and biking. They take you canoeing. They take you to baseball games or whitewater rafting. They go horseback riding on days off. You do all sorts of fun activities. They take you out to dinners, and they sort of just make sure that you are settled into Breckenridge. You understand it. And you can get yourself around. It's a really great way of doing it. Plus, they a couple of official dinners every week and other things that help for the social interactions, because sometimes you're coming into a new situation and it takes a little while to get to know people, and this really speeds that up, and I think it makes it a much more social summer.
Thank you so much. So before we go to our final panelists, I forgot to ask Indigo and Jonathan about accommodations for summer employees. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we do provide housing for any employee who's not local to Santa Barbara. So we do provide housing, and all of our positions are also paid for summer staff.
Excellent. Okay, so my last panelist is David Styers from the League, and I thought this was so crucial because in addition to summer work and internships, there is a fantastic, intensive professional development program called Essentials of Orchestra Management, which when I see on someone's resume, I'm like, all right, this person's good to go. So David, tell us, what is Essentials? When is it happening? Because I am very excited for our attendees to hear about it.
Certainly. Welcome, everyone. Some of you may not know what the League of American Orchestras is, but I'll say quickly that it will be celebrating its 80th anniversary next year as the National Service Organization for Symphony Orchestras. And for the past 70 years, they have been providing in-depth training on orchestra management. None of you probably as children said, when I grow up, I want to be an orchestra manager. And probably when you were even seniors in high school, we're not saying, when I go off to college, I want to major in orchestra management, because no such majors exist. And so since 1952, the League's been providing orchestra management trainings to provide the skills that people need to run orchestras. And the current iteration of Essentials of Orchestra Management dates back 20 years to 2000. And it is a 10-day intensive sort of everything you ever need to know about orchestra management and didn't know you needed to ask. I will say that it is not encyclopedic. We can't even cover everything we would like in 10 days. And we can't go completely in depth. I mean, we could spend 10 days probably just on fundraising and marketing instead of the 2 to 3 hours we spend on each of those topics. But it does give an individual a broad sense of all the different aspects that go into putting an orchestra on the stage and performing concerts, and all the different behind the scenes things that happen in orchestra management. The dates are July the 24th through August the 2nd. Again, July 24th through August the 2nd. And we charge both the tuition and board. And so we haven't completely set the fees, but we're looking at to be around $3,750, so $3,750 for the 10 days, including housing. And we also do have financial aid as well. So we do have some scholarship monies. We unfortunately have not been able to do this program because of COVID since the summer of 2019. There is tremendous pent-up demand. I literally get nearly an email a day from people asking about this program. And so we're expecting it to be a very competitive process, but we often have particularly graduate students who are looking at what do I want to do after I finish graduate school, apply for the program. There is a $60 application fee, and the applications will open in the end of January. But if anyone is interested, I am keeping that list of all these people who are emailing me. Please feel free to email me, and I will be happy to send you the information as soon as it is released in January. And would love to have any of you potentially apply for the 10-day course. And again, this is something until COVID we were doing annually. So even if it doesn't fit into your summer plans for 2022, think about it for 2023 or 2024. And so if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me as well. I do want to just add my own personal note that it is incredible, all the wonderful music festivals that are available to provide you experience. But sometimes you can find orchestra management experience through unusual channels. The only reason I've had a career for 30 years in orchestra management is that I applied for a state government internship when I was a junior in college in the state of North Carolina. And by chance, I ended up serving that state government internship with the North Carolina Symphony. And I would never have dreamed, one, that I would end up at a symphony in a state government internship, and that internship would lead me on the path to orchestra management. So also look for any type of internships that may even lead you into an orchestra that, again, could be a very unusual path. But happy to answer any questions anybody has. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. And thank you so much for having me here, Sonja.
Oh, that was great, David. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the League and their professional development courses. I'm an alum of the Emerging Leaders Program, which is for later in career, but it changed my life. Actually, we're looking at what the outcome was is orchestracareers.com. So it is a really fantastic set of programs that David and his team are leading. So I know it's an investment, but it is one you will not be sorry for making on your career journey. So, okay, so we're going to have some time for questions for any of the panelists about anything summer related, and a couple other things to share with you. But let's go to questions. You can raise your hand if you'd like. Okay, Cheyenne.
Hi, I have a question. It's actually kind of specific for Mr. Styers. I happen to be in North Carolina right now. I'm serving in the military, and that's where I'm stationed. I'm a flute player with the 2nd Law Band. And I was just curious if you could tell me what that state internship was that you applied for, because that really intrigues me. And how did you wind up with the orchestra applying for a state internship? Anyway, I know it's kind of a specific question, but
that's fine. And I'll try to make a quick answer. I'm happy to have a longer conversation. So it was through the Institute of Government at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Anyone who was a resident of North Carolina or in school at a North Carolina institution could apply for it. Again, this was 30 years ago. I have no idea if it still exists. And North Carolina and the North Carolina Symphony is an interesting model in that it is one of the few orchestras that actually gets directed state funding. It is in the line item of the North Carolina budget with a mandate to perform in all 100 counties of North Carolina. And that's sort of part of the history of that orchestra. And any entity that had a line item in the state budget could qualify to receive a state government intern. And so as part of this program, they put in for a PR intern. And actually one of my colleagues, it was about 20 of us in this internship program through the Institute of Government, she worked at the North Carolina Museum of Art under the sort of the same auspices. And so that is how I ended up at the North Carolina Symphony as a state government intern. I just thought it'd be cool to do PR at the symphony.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Davey, good to see you.
Hey, Susan, great to see you too. Thank you so much for putting this together, and thanks to all the panelists for being here for this conversation. My question is, what advice do the panelists have for someone interested in transitioning from performance to arts administration? And I think more specifically, how do you take a background in performance and translate that into something that can land you an internship or summer position?
Fair game to unmute from our panelists and dive right in.
If I'll take the first shot at it. I think it's a great question. I'm probably the old man on the panel, and also I spent 35 years as a professional musician. My last 10 playing with the Philadelphia Orchestra and the New York Philharmonic. So I wasn't necessarily ever looking for an administration position. But what I found as I sort of went through my career as a performer is that, that curiosity is really what carried me through, what got me the tools that I needed. My career path took many, many turns. In fact, for 10 years, I was a professional ski instructor. And took my winters off from performing with the Baltimore Symphony so I could teach skiing and be a ski bum. So there's no real one true path to where you're going to go and how you're going to get there. And there's no real right answer to what it is that you're going to do and how you're going to find your way. Jon Thompson from Aspen has a completely different path, but we've found similar. We've found ourselves in similar space now. I think that the most important thing is you being open to the doors that open in front of you, and being ready to walk through them. Because it's no good if you don't if you haven't done the sort of the background work at a time. Then you're through a door, you're going to be ready, right? And it's not going to work out as well as it should. So what you all are doing right now, being on this call, thinking about internships, thinking about summer positions, tells me right now you all are already open to having those doors open for you. And I would just say there is no right or wrong or one way of doing it. You've got to find your way. You find your space in it. I never thought, my first job out of Curtis, I went to the Curtis Institute. I got a job right away with the Buffalo Philharmonic. After 3 years in Buffalo, the position went away. The performance position went away. And the president of the orchestra asked me if I wanted a job in the admin, because they felt really bad for me because I was losing my performance position. And I shook my head. I said, there's no way I want to be an admin person. That's not what I do. I'm a performer. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it for my whole life. And, and then I did, and I kept going, but you just never know what's going to open up for us. If this worked out for me because I had a house in Breckenridge because I'm a skier. So my wife and I bought a second home in Breckenridge. And then all of a sudden the NRO had a position open. So you never know what's going to happen. You just have to be ready for it. When the door opens, you have to be ready. You have to be willing to walk through, and then you have to be ready to what's on the other side.
And I'll just say that, and looking across the field of orchestra managers, many of them come from performance backgrounds, and having that understanding of what the musicians do on the stage is a huge advantage to anyone going into orchestra management. So don't ever feel like somehow that's a deficit that you're transitioning from a performer to management. If anything, that is a huge positive.
Absolutely. And I've been thinking a lot about how my skills as a musician actually translate off the stage. So start thinking about, you know, how you're a project manager. If you've done a recital, you've managed that project, right? And the timelines and checklists needed. How do you build relationship? What do people put you in charge of? And really think about the leadership that you've been able to show, even as a musician, and do the work to translate that into your skills without your oboe in your hand, and be able to talk about it, and you'll be well on your way. Absolutely. There's no two roads to these positions are the same, which is the exciting and terrifying part of it, because there's no book. We're going to write the book right now. So Taylor, I see your hand up.
Hi. I was wondering if the panelists had any thoughts about applying for one specific position, or if you feel like you have applicable skills to multiple positions, applying for all of the ones that might fit.
I'll take that if that's all right. I definitely say, you know, identify the one that you want the most and apply for that, and then apply for 5 more. And in addition to that, even if you're not applying for 5 more, there are many times where, you know, we get 5 incredible applicants for a position, and we'll see where we can fit them in the organization otherwise. I mean, we had someone who we interviewed as an orchestra manager, and our artistic administrator said, I want him as an artistic liaison. I know he's like contester for this position and he's great, but I want him here. And he was very open to it. And from what I heard, he really liked the position. And same, we had some Devo applicants and their development, and I ended up stealing them to be house managers, because of that one-on-one interaction with some of those donors is extremely vital at an organization that's nonprofit like any of these. And so be ready to be taken a different direction, but also be open and apply as many directions as you're willing.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Once you can just get your foot in the door, get known, and then they'll plug you in based on your skill set. I would say if you do 5 different applications, do 5 different applications. Don't copy paste, find replace the position title, but really think through, you know, how the different facets of what you have to offer would support you in that role. Caitlin.
Hi, yes. I'm a PR major and I would love to do PR work for symphonies. I was curious what advice you would give to someone who is on the job search for positions in the development or PR marketing department.
Well, we need you. So thank you. Thank you for raising your hand here on the call, and also for our field. Can you remind me where are you in school, or are you graduated yet?
I'm a senior, so I'll graduate in April.
Okay.
I'll just say, because I started out in PR as well, Caitlin, as an English major, and particularly 30 years later, the biggest thing I've seen is the need to be able to tell the story, not only of the orchestra, of who and what it is, but how it relates to the community, and be able to listen and tell the story of the relevance of the orchestra to different segments of the potential audience. And this storytelling piece has become so important. We're actually doing a midwinter seminar that any of you would be welcome to register for, with the CEO of the International Storytelling Center in Jonesboro, Tennessee. And so I'll put the link in the chat, but the storytelling piece has become a major part of what orchestras need to do, because it's not just good enough to play incredible concerts and have a stage full of the world's best musicians to get an audience to come as it used to be, say 40, 50 years ago. And so I think that's one of the things I would say about making sure you understand how to tell a story in multiple channels, press releases, social media, etc. But that storytelling, I think, is a big skill that orchestras are looking for.
Yeah, I would agree 100% with David. And it's the other thing he said, which I think is really important, is and what does it mean to me? What does that story mean to me as either whoever I am, a ticket buyer, a possible donor, a possible foundation, grantor. What is it that you want to tell me? How are you going to tell that story? How cleanly can you tell that story? And then what does it mean to me? What does it mean in my life?
And Caitlin, I've got a lot of professional friends who would do that job at orchestras, and I will hook you up for some informational interviews. And that is another way that I would say you can do that now as a student. And if I can be that gateway to whatever type of position at a type of orchestra, I make my friends have these informational interviews with you all, so they're glad to do it. But that is just the best way. Just talk to the people doing this work that you're interested in. And then it's also a foot in the door, right? We talked about, oh yeah, I met Caitlin. Yeah, that would be great to consider her for a future position. It's who you know and who you build a relationship with that is going to continue to support you on this journey.
And do not be shy or embarrassed about scheduling informational interviews. Yes, everyone's incredibly busy, but they will love talking to you, and it's paying it forward. They all did informational interviews 20, 30 years ago to get into this field. And in 20, 30 years, when you're incredibly successful, you will be doing those informational interviews for the next generation of orchestra managers as well.
Yes. Carly, I saw your hand. Good to see you.
Hi. So I just had like a question about is there a certain number of years of experience that I need to apply for a summer position or an internship position, or if there's a difference between a fellowship position or a full-time professional position, what experience marks the difference between those?
Maybe John, can I go back to you? Just kind of what, I guess a lot of Jonathan and Indigo and John and Bonnie, you all kind of transitioned from that seasonal to full-time. What kind of marks that difference between the two?
I think it depends on the position, especially with music festival. We have, just the most simple is our stage crew goes from production manager to assistant production manager, stage crew. The stage crew, I can hire someone who is just out of their freshman year of college. And one of my years, that was actually one of my best employees, was the youngest, completely unforeseen going into it. But then typically the production manager, I'm going to hire someone who has a few more years in the field and ready to work on their toes faster. But it's really dependent on the position and also the applicant. Like I said, you can go in an interview and you could have an incredible interview, and your experience isn't going to matter as much because I can tell that the work ethic is there and the curiosity.
And just to tag on to that as well, I have experience working for an education department of an art museum, and before this job, I worked for a travel company. So you can't just say that it has to be experience in the classical field. It can be so many things. I mean, if you looked at my resume, you'd be like, I'm sorry, what? Where did you go? What did you do? But the thing is, when my current boss, called my reference at the art museum, he said, well, she managed 500 students every day. She had 2 people that she's oversaw as a manager. So part of it too is if it's a supervisory position that you're going for, they're going to see, do you have any supervisory experience? That might help with that. And just really getting experience in different aspects. And like someone said earlier, you can really relate one job to another, even if they're completely different fields. You can just say, well, I was super busy and had to handle lots of angry, screaming people on the phone when I worked at whatever. And then that translates to whatever you're interviewing for or going for. Just seeing how those skills translate really, I think is helpful for that.
And I think if you're at a place in your life where you're ready to commit to something full-time, or if you just need, to build some more experience, if you're still in a degree program, some of that might help inform the type of positions you're ready for. Okay, I'm going to go to a couple last questions, but first in the chat, we've created a Google form because we'd love to stay connected with all of you. And if you would fill that out, you can indicate which of these festivals have really piqued your interest And I'm going to share this information with our panelists. And also there's a really special offer because I care so deeply about how important this is that if you would like, I would love to help you with your applications. And because it's a secret fun thing that I get to do is help with resumes and cover letters and mock interviews. And I love to do it. And I really, really want you to land these jobs because they're so important for you to continue to build your experience. So there'll be a way to get connected with me. You can always email info@orchestracareers.com. If you have any questions following this event today, I would love to just help you one-on-one on your journey. Okay, Bree, maybe you can help us with the Google Form access. We'll get to that. Okay. So Laura, what's your question?
Yeah, thank you again for putting this together. My question is, I'm an international student, so I was wondering if for any of these opportunities, summary opportunities, I see if your organizations accept OPT or some sort of work that could be also available for international students.
Well, I will say, yes, we do. We don't, like I said, we have a very small staff, so we cannot help with the application processes. But if you have a current visa that is valid through the summer work, we're able to bring you on.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I'm doing my studies here in the United States, so it's not like I'm coming from another country right now just for the summer, but yeah, and I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I'll say the same for Aspen Music Festival. We can't really help with getting a visa or anything, but we'll hire anyone that is looking for a job and is the right applicant.
Great. Are there any other questions? Try that link now that's in the chat and see if that works for you. Well, I just wanted to, okay, well, we still have we have all your email addresses, I think, so we'll figure this out. So stay tuned. We'll make sure that we get you connected. But in the meantime, you can email me info@orchestracareers.com if you want to stay connected or if you have interest in these festivals. I want to make sure you get lined up with the application process, and then we will support you along the way. I want to just say a huge thank you to our panelists. This has been a daydream of mine, this event for several months now, and just seeing all your lovely faces on the screen, both attendees and panelists, it's just really, really special because I believe that lives are going to change through these summer opportunities. I had posted a file. There was a PDF file earlier in the chat that I tried to grab a bunch of contact information, and actually also the website links to where these postings will be posted. See if that file opened for you. If you like this event, please stay tuned for more Orchestra Careers events like this on Zoom in the new year. We're actually going to be planning our programming for the springtime very soon, and we've got some really great things. Also really excited to partner with the League, kind of building the student content for the student members, of which any of you can become a student member of the League and have access to a lot of really great stuff. I'm working also on some ways to make sure that students know about the annual conference in June of 22 for the League, because I think that's going to be a phenomenal event if we can get some students there as well. Awesome. Okay, well, thanks so much for joining us today. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, and I hope you land that summer job. Okay, have a great day.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you, Sonja.
Thank you.